Today I'm joined by County Judge Houston Wells and County Grants Administrator Ann Northcutt to discuss a small business grant application. Could you please start out by describing what the grant is and who would be eligible for it?
I'll do that, Abby. Thank you for having us on, and thank you for getting the word out that we have this program going. As we all know that small businesses are the backbone of our community. We have many of those both in the city and the county. The city's already offered this opportunity, and so we in the county want to do that as well for the unincorporated areas of Franklin County. This small grant is a $5,000 grant to businesses that are eligible, and I'm going to go over the eligibility part of the application, and then I'm going to have our grants administrator Ann Northcutt to talk more about the logistics, the process of filling out the application. First of all, in order to be considered eligible for the business, to be eligible for the grant, the businesses must have a physical business location in the unincorporated area of Franklin County. Home-based businesses are not eligible. You must employ no more than 50 people. You must have been operating and licensed as a business prior to October 1st, 2019. You must plan to continue your operation for at least 12 months after the grant funds are assigned. And you also must be in good standing on all state and local license fees and taxes. Also, not have been previously reimbursed for some same expenses by any other federal, state, or local grant or forgivable loan, or assessed any additional fees to customers to cover the effects of the pandemic on the business. Last but not least, you must accept responsibility for tax reporting on all grant funds awarded on July 6, 2020. The IRS confirmed that the receipt of a government grant by a business generally is not excluded from the business's gross income under the code and therefore is taxable. And with those eligibility requirements, and we'll talk about our website in just a moment, and to get all that out there. But I'd like for Ann Northcutt, our grants administrator, to talk a little about the application itself and filling it out and the deadline and where to take it. Ann, would you follow through on that? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Judge. Yes, it's a one-page application, and then you also will include some other information with it. Section A of the application talks about business information, and that's your business name, physical address, mailing address, phone and email, and then the business owner and their residence address. Now, the next numbers are very important to fill out: your federal tax ID number, your county business license number, and your Kentucky organizations or license number that's through the Secretary of State of the Commonwealth. We want to know a description of your business or services and the date your business was established. And if it's a franchise or chain, the only way it would be eligible if there is ownership of at least 51% by a person living in the unincorporated area of Franklin County. Now, the next section is, we ask that you check, and this is just because the government likes for us to report on this, if it's minority-owned, women-owned, or veteran-owned. And then under Section B, we gave a list of reimbursable expenses that would be pretty much universal to any business. Has to do with rent or mortgage paid on your business since March 20th, 2020, utility expenses since that time, amounts paid to employees, and reduction in revenue since March 2020. And we ask you to attach explanation and documentation for that information and profit or loss statements for 2019 and 2020. And then we put in there that we could ask for additional information to verify those expenses. And I've had a couple of people say, well, I don't use profit loss statements. And I say, okay, write us an explanation and include something from your accountant. Anything that can show us your reduction in revenue during the pandemic is what we're looking for. And then, of course, we put in a disclaimer that says you must have all this information or we can't accept your application. So please, everybody, fill in all those blanks. If you don't know your organization number through the Secretary of State, you can find that at web.sos.ky.gov, and you can look your business up, and it's all right there in case that form is buried in a file cabinet, or it's just quicker to look it up for you. The deadline for submitting the applications is February 15th. Our offices are open on that day. We have mail bins out in front of the 321 West Main address, and we ask that they drop those in a sealed envelope and have it marked small business grant application. And that way we're handling everybody's application in the same ways, and we're having those scanned and sent to the several people who are reviewing those eligibility criteria. So we want to make sure that we get everything, we're not missing any of your information, and so that's why we're asking that they be dropped in person by noon on February 15th. I know that those are available online as well as at the Chamber of Commerce, at Tourism. They have hard copies if folks need them. So, and please give us a call at 502-875-8751. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to call back and answer any questions that you have on the application.
Great. And when can people expect to hear back about their applications?
We're hoping to have all the reviews done in order to present fiscal court with a list of eligible businesses at their meeting on the 19th. And then shortly after that, we would be able to start contacting businesses and issuing the checks to those eligible businesses. We've mentioned February 26th because we know we'll have it by then, but we wanted to give people a date to look forward to.
Okay, is there anything else y'all wanted to mention about the application or the process?
Let me ask a question to Ann for the businesses themselves. Ann, can they, when they receive the check, can they spend it on anything related to their business?
You know, we're not going to monitor how they're spending those funds. We know that businesses have had to do a lot of things to keep afloat during this trying time, and we're not going to make it any harder on them by making them adhere to certain regulations on spending those. We know that they'll be spending them for what they need during this time.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. Abby, I'd also like to get out that our Franklin County webpage is www.franklincounty.ky.gov, and our Facebook page is www.facebook.com/FCFCKY. We'll have the applications on there for if anybody wants to get them off of those sites as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for joining me and providing some of that great information. And I would encourage anyone who is eligible to go online and apply for the small business grant.